Well, g'day. In this video, I want to look at autopilot. From a human factors perspective, does it make it easier to drive? Does it make it harder to drive? Does it increase your workload or decrease your workload, depending on the situation? So, I'm about to run through my usual regular commute home from work, and we'll discuss how it changes my driving habits in this video. So let's get to it. Okay, so here we are, commuting from work back to Western Sydney from southwestern Sydney. I'm going to run through with autopilot here. We do have the latest update, 20.13, with the stoplight recognition and the acknowledgement to let it go through. But what I want to do here is demonstrate how it changes the way I used to drive. Okay, for example, now we're approaching this crest on this hill with a left-hand turn. So see that truck up there coming over the hill? The car might phantom brake. So, well, here we go, it's phantom brake right then. It does it a lot, coming up hills with a left-hand crest over the top in Australia. I'm assuming it's the other way around in other countries. But yeah, that's the sort of stuff you've got to be aware of. That is the added sort of vigilance you've got to have, I guess, driving an autopilot now. So basically, you have two modes of thinking when you're driving. You have your high level or sort of a deeper level mental models and schema, such as things like changing gears with your car, using the handbrake, turning the wheel, using the brakes, that sort of stuff. That is almost, you could call it a subconscious level, I guess. You do that without thinking about it. It's not much of a problem. Unless, of course, you do something like miss a gear in a manual, then all of a sudden you stumble as that mental process then moves from the subconscious to the conscious, while you then try to figure out why you missed the gear and how to resolve the situation. Okay, traffic lights, got to watch this. Then you have your working memory, such as what your mind is doing. The mental model of what's going on at the time. Your conscious level. Like I am now driving through a work site, very conscious of the fact that there is only one white line on the side of the road. There's roadworks around, so the road markings might not be accurate or there at all. So with autopilot, I've now got to be aware of autopilot that it might suddenly swerve or change direction without me wanting it to. So those sort of processes like lane keeping, watching the traffic, watching the sets of lights, watching the hazards on the road, watching your speeds, the big one in Australia, because they're very strict on speed limits in Australia for some strange reason. So you've got to consciously keep your eye on the speed, which is really annoying. But, so what autopilot does is allows you to remove some of those mental processes of lane keeping, keeping distance from the car in front, monitoring your speed, that sort of thing. Allows you to sort of unload your brain with that to concentrate on more things like being more situationally aware. Like now, my road work, I'm now more aware of the fact that the road markings might change, there's construction workers everywhere, heavy machinery, the road surface might not be as good as it used to be, there might be a fresh excavation site that's been patched up and be really bumpy. So it frees up your mental processes to look out for other hazards. So in that sense, autopilot is far better than not having autopilot, and far safer, because it basically relegates the mental processing of driving the vehicle, not speeding. It takes away from you, and the car handles that, allowing your mental capacity to be freed up to look for other hazards and other traffic, and then doing stuff like that big pothole right there. Anyway, so what we're doing now is driving home through Sydney traffic, through various scenarios, and I'll explain how things have changed. Like a mental process here, approaching a motorway now. I know where I've got to go. I know this is a complex on-ramp and off-ramp that I have to navigate. I don't want the extra mental workload of having to worry about autopilot, so I'll turn autopilot off as I get to the Hume Highway here. Because I know I don't have to change lanes. I know navigating autopilot will want to change lanes into the next right-hand lane. I don't want it to do that, so I'll leave autopilot off. I'm driving normally, watching the car in front, watching my speed, looking for traffic. But I know if I stay in this lane, I'll be fine, I'll get where I want to go. There's two cars right there decided to cut right across the traffic because they have no idea where they're going. No forward planning, it's not a good way to drive. So I was saying before, you basically got two mental processes in your head, subconscious and your conscious. Now, this is a big thing in aviation, and I have done a lot of research into this as part of my aviation side of work and things, called human factors. Basically, your brain has only a set amount of processing capacity in your conscious level. Subconscious as well, funnily enough. So if you get overwhelmed by lots of stuff going on around you, then your brain starts dropping processes. So if you got a lot of work like heavy traffic, it's raining, heavy traffic, it's sunset, people cutting across roads are poor condition, then you're concentrating on all those factors as well as trying to drive the car. And you can easily be overwhelmed and forget about something and increases your chances of having an accident. The autopilot will remove a lot of the stress factors in that, like the maintaining of your speed, maintaining your position on the road, and monitoring the car in front. Therefore, freeing your mind up, or your mental capacity up, to focus on the bigger hazards, such as the rain, the poor lighting, the water on the road, or whatever. There's, like I mentioned earlier, there's also the subconscious stuff, like use the indicator to go on lights. When you plug your seatbelt in, you do it automatically. You don't think about it. Same as braking. When you put your foot in the brake to stop normally, you don't think about how much pressure you need to stop the car. You just know, because it's become second nature, I guess, as you could call it, or you've developed a mental model of that, which your brain will automatically default to when you need to brake. You don't have to consciously think about it. So the situation up here ahead is now, because I'm more situationally aware now, is 3 lanes of traffic, numerous sets of lights. I want to be in the middle lane for most of it, so that's where I'll stay, and I'll put on autopilot once around this intersection. Autopilot is on, maintaining speed and lane position. Now, situationally aware, a truck right here very close, a truck in front of me, 2 trucks behind me. Okay, so now I've got trucks behind me, I've got to be aware of the phantom braking, or the braking, and telling the car to go for this green light ahead. Because if I don't, it's going to brake and it can cause a drama with the truck behind me. He's sitting too close. There we go. And do it again, second time. See, that's one of the reasons I don't quite like this update. I know it's going to be good when it's working fine, but at the moment, it wants more than one confirmation, and you can do it once or twice, or maybe even 3 times. So it's once again for this intersection, and again, twice. Now, there's nobody behind me, so I'm not too stressed about that anymore. But there's a bus stop, car tracking, and debris on the road, so obviously, I'm not sure if autopilot will see that. So I took over manual control, and now I want to get in that lane there. See, the possibility could have been I could have been watching for traffic and watching my speed to make sure I wasn't speeding, and I might not have seen that. So the autopilot, like I said earlier, frees up my mental capacity to be more aware of what's going on around me, such as seeing debris and stuff like that on the road. Okay, now we're back on 3-lane main road again with various speed zone changes. Now, the speed zone changes do create their own set of problems. Although the car does maintain the speed exactly at the speed limit, there have been numerous people that have got speeding fines while driving autopilot. Because on this road, there's a speed zone change from 60 to 70 kilometres an hour. While on autopilot, the car would continue at 70 kilometres an hour into the 60 kilometre an hour zone and won't slow down or change its speed sign, change the speed to 60 to probably a good 500 metres into the 70 zone, at which point, if you get booked, well then, there's nothing you can do about it. You're doing 70 in a 60 zone and you have to wear it. Again, traffic control nagging and a brake touch, which I'm not a fan of. That's why at this point in time, I think the traffic control is actually adding to the workload while I'm driving, because I'm not only going to be aware of the traffic, I'm going to be aware of how the traffic control is going to react as I approach a set of lights. So this point is a bit, not a fan of it. Traffic control is green light. Yes. Yes, for the 3rd time. Make that 4 times. Make that 5 times. 5 times I have to tell the car that it is a green light. That will be fixed, I've heard. It can only get better. So here we've got the change into a 60 zone. The car's still doing 70. So the speed zone sign has changed, but the car is still locked onto 70 k's an hour. Not speeding, obviously, because the car in front. But if there's no vehicle in front, the car would still be doing 70 kilometres an hour. And there's a very high chance you can get booked for speeding for that. Again, it's still doing 70 in a 60 zone. Around about here, it changes back to 60. No, it still hasn't done it yet. Okay. Where is that car turning? Someone might not cut me off. There we go. Now the car has reset the autopilot speed to 60 kilometres an hour. Safe from losing a licence. Fortunately, the heavy traffic meant it's all pretty safe at this point. But if there's less traffic, a good chance you could lose your licence. I don't think the autopilot system will let you actually run a red light yet. I actually might try that. If I can get a set of lights coming up where there's no one in front of me and it goes red, I'll tell the car that it's green light and see what happens. There's a red light. Autopilot on, stopping for traffic control, let it go through. No, I can't. I can't override it if there's a red light. That is good. So I told the car numerous times that I thought it was a green light. The car still stopped at the red light. Hey, Pascal in your lane. So that's pretty much how it handles Sydney traffic on 3-lane roads and intersections. Not too bad. Like I said, basic autopilot without the sets of lights does make driving easier. Does allows you to relax your mind a bit and give you more mental capacity for unusual situations, which is great. But the autopilot as it is now, with the traffic awareness and the constant nagging for the green light, I think actually adds to your mental workload while you're driving. So at the moment, probably doesn't actually make things safer. Because what the car is taking away with monitoring speed and lane position is now adding to your mental workload by asking if it's a green light, yes or no. That's it. So now on to single lane roads and see how we go with that, and motorway on ramps and off ramps. Single lane road, autopilot will not let me go above 80 kilometers an hour. Dual lane roads and motorways, the autopilot will let you set it to above 80 kilometers an hour, I've noticed, but only on multi-lane roads or controlled access motorways. Okay, now, mental process on a higher speed single lane road is obviously, I'm not monitoring my speed anymore, I'm not monitoring my lane position anymore. What I am looking at is things like trucks, curves on the left, and possible phantom braking. Again, no one behind me that's too close, or a truck or anything like that, so phantom braking not that much of a worry at the moment, but watching for potholes because these roads do get used by a lot of heavy vehicles. So again, you're sort of swapping one mental process to add more mental ability to concentrating on the other. Autopilot on, I can relax a bit more on this road, single lane, don't have to worry about encroaching traffic. No vehicles very close behind me, small truck some way behind. On these semi-rural roads, you do have other hazards you don't get on the 3-lane roads, such as animals, kangaroos, things like that. Rare, but it does happen. Okay, I know there's no intersections on this road for some distance now, so I can relax and watch the traffic. And listen to my favourite podcast, Phantom Lane 4, Simon Hamza Court, or any of our podcasts. Has a bin fallen over? Will it see a fallen bin? No, it won't. It sees fallen cones. Why no falling bins, Elon? Okay, I'm on the on-ramp now. Autopilot engaged. Still 60 zone. It is not a 60 zone. It is now 110, so I'll ramp up to 110. And we'll see how the car handles this. So now I can keep a lookout for traffic approaching, but also too I'm aware of the car that the car is indicating, which is good. It's unusually long on-ramp, so sometimes I think on-ramp is a lane it should be in towards the end. No vehicles approaching. Come on, car, let's merge. Let's do your merge. Exit 110, yes. Okay, I don't know why you've stopped merging, but yeah, let's change the lanes. So I mean, see, it's that sort of thing you've got to think about, be aware of, your autopilot. A normal motorway, you wouldn't normally do that, you just drive on like you would. But yeah, once it's driving, autopilot is brilliant and does reduce your mental workload enormously on motorways and single lane roads. So yeah, for autopilot, essentially now is essentially for open roads and motorways, which is, as it says in the beta, that's what it's essentially designed to do. In urban areas, it does make life a little bit harder for you. It can make it easier in other areas. So overall, it's pretty much not really a great improvement when it comes to being safer and thinking about driving. It means you have to alter your thinking to a different. You have to think like the car and think about how the car's going to handle the situation, not just about how you're going to handle the situation. But as things improve, it will get better as it does through updates and learning, which is why I still use the traffic light awareness beta, because I know it's improving the system, even though at this point in time I hate it. But I do it for the system and everybody else who owns a Tesla, knowing it will improve in the future. So once again, thank you all for watching, and also, tell me how it affects your driving. Have you noticed how it changes your thinking when you're driving? Let me know in the comments below. And thank you for watching. Take care of yourselves, and don't forget to please drive safe and have fun. Bye.